included as rain and storms take center stage as a front comes to town. Hopefully we'll feel the better effects of that front by Sunday with clearing conditions and temperatures slightly below average. Ladies.
Okay, thank you, Jonathan. We welcome below average temperatures. Fox 7 News at noon is just about an hour away, so here's a look at what we'll be following. Some students at Kennesaw State University say finding a place to park is harder than their toughest class. What officials say they're doing to relieve that problem. And thanks to a new collaboration, you can have your beer and eat it too. We'll tell you about the new beer-infused soup, all new at noon. If you dare.
Yeah. No, thank you. Coming up, thank you actually for joining us for Good Day Atlanta. Sherry is coming up next.
And be sure to join us anytime on fox5atlanta.com, on Fox Local, and on the Fox 5 Radio 1 network at 107.9 HD2 FM.
We're also on social media. We are on Facebook, X, Instagram, and YouTube. And I really do hope to see you right back here for Fox 5 News at noon, followed by Portia at 1. Have a wonderful
Well, welcome in. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming with me on our Wednesday morning. We are tracking the latest effects from Hurricane Erin. As we know, beaches are closing all up and down the eastern seaboard here. So I want to get a check of our local weather forecast and, of course, a look out across the region with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. I know that this is something that we're going to continue to track. And Jonathan has the 7-day forecast up right now. I'm going to give you guys a look of it. You can kind of see what's happening outside. And as we continue to track the latest with Hurricane Erin, we're going to continue to check in with meteorologist Jonathan Stacy. I want to let you know a little bit about how this is affecting areas here around us, and specifically Tybee Island. So you're taking a look at some of the strong waves and the warnings that officials have posted there along the beaches. So here's what you need to know to stay prepared. Communities across the East Coast are bracing for the expected impacts, and crews on Tybee Island have actually spent the week cleaning storm drains and moving beach signs to safer areas, and of course warning residents of rip currents. If you've been listening to meteorologist Jonathan Stacy and some of the others here in our newsroom throughout the week, rip currents and that storm surge are some of the bigger effects that they are concerned about from this storm. City leaders there in Tybee are reminding residents to check the flags at lifeguard stands for wave conditions and, again, the threat of those rip currents. So we're going to continue to follow the latest here on Hurricane Erin. I want to see if meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is standing by to maybe get a check of our local forecast and, of course, check the effects. And if not, we'll move on and come back to him in just a little bit. But we're going to see what he has to say about Hurricane Erin and, of course, get the latest on our local forecast. In the meantime, if you are traveling or headed out, one thing we do want to keep you up to date on deals with a new technology coming to Atlanta's Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport. Now, when we take a look at this, we know that TSA and Clear and some of these other security companies are testing these new biometric gates. This one actually specifically deals with Clear. The Secure ID company is testing this at 3 U.S. airports. Hartsfield-Jackson happens to be one of them. The program is called Clear Plus. Members who sign up and subscribe are going to be able to skip past the normal TSA podium. And our Caitlin Pratt is actually live at the airport to explain how this works, how we can take advantage. So I want to bring Caitlin in. Caitlin, it is great to see you. I feel like there's always a new technology coming to the airport. It's hard for me to keep up, but thankfully we have you to make sense of this.
Yes. Okay. So good morning, Ariel. And if you travel a lot, then you're definitely going to want to listen up to this. That's for sure. I want to tell you first and foremost, it does cost some money to be able to take advantage of this high-tech service, $209 to be exact every year. But it's a price that many say is worth paying. We actually caught up with some passengers earlier today. And while we talk about what this is, go ahead and take a look. I hope we have this video of this new system. It's really interesting. It's bare bones, right? But it does so much. The program called Clear Plus. So members who sign up and subscribe, you can skip past the normal TSA podium, you know, where you show your license, all the things. And this is a biometric software that actually matches travelers' faces. So it's facial technician or recognition technology, and they match that to their ID and their boarding passes, and bam, you just go walk right through. This made possible through a public-private partnership, transmitting only limited data. A lot of people get nervous as far as this is concerned. Live photo, boarding pass, and ID photo, that's it. It's not going to be accessing any watch lists. It can't override any TSA gate decisions, things like that. It's called officially the E-Gate system, and Hartsfield-Jackson International, the first to deploy it. Actually, yesterday was the first day. We caught up with some travelers earlier this morning who are already taking advantage of it.
Quick and easy, and you know, it's new, so it was fun. It's always, with Atlanta, it's always the fastest option.
And so why were we one of the first ones picked to roll out this high-tech thing? Well, Atlanta, of course, is going to be hosting the FIFA World Cup next year, and more than 20 million international visitors are expected to descend on the United States alone for that big international event. And so, yes, we were chosen probably because of that reason. And next cities in line, we're told, for this, the Ronald Reagan National Airport, Seattle-Tacoma International Airport as well, later this month. So we're fancy here, Ariel, in Atlanta. We're fancy. We're cutting edge. We are on top of the new technology, and we are ready to roll. If you're interested, again, it's going to be about $200 a year to subscribe.
Caitlin, it's always so interesting to me that you can pay for efficiency. It's like if you have the moolah to spend, you can, pay for all of these. And it's always some acronym, always something to increase security. But it is interesting. I was going to ask you if the World Cup had something to do with this efficiency program that they're rolling out. Do you expect there to be changes to this? Maybe it rolls out in other places of the airport, or where is it specifically if people are looking when they get in?
Okay, it's not at the main security gate. That's the main thing, because if you travel this area often, you know where that main security gate is. It's off to the right, and there are signs, though, directing you to it. And those who already use that Clear Pass will probably be more familiar with it. If you're not a subscriber already, don't worry. It's very easy to sign up for. And as I mentioned, there's so many helpful guides along the route, like once you get inside, and they'll point you right in the direction. That's what happened to us this morning when we were looking for it in the first place, to go ahead and gather that video for you.
Caitlin, thank you. Yeah, I think one of the big things that I've noticed too with this system, I've actually used it at other airports, but what's interesting is you didn't have to pay. It was like the airport authority made it a part of their normal screening process, like in Cancun or some other airports. It wasn't like Clear where you had to pay for it. So it'll be interesting to see if this is a test that then gets rolled out on a much bigger scale.
But yeah, you were mentioning the international aspect of this. This has been going on in other places except for the United States. So this is kind of our first test run, if you will, of this. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see if it takes off. I mean, we already pay, right? If we're going to be in that fast lane, we pay to have that, that faster commute, that faster trip. So I get it. I think a lot of people will subscribe to it.
Caitlin, thank you so much for giving us the rundown. We really appreciate it. Stay safe. And you guys, I'm curious, if you're streaming along with us here on YouTube, I'm taking a look at the comments. And would you use this? Would you use this service here with Clear? Again, this is a biometric data that scans your face, matches to your ID, and allows you to get through the gate more quickly. Curious about your thoughts. Again, we're streaming here along YouTube. You can put in your comments. Let us know if you have any questions about this story. We're going to be getting a check of your weather forecast coming up next. We have some other stories also coming up. We know that in Chamblee, police are launching a real-time crime monitoring center. They're going to be building that. And we're going to be catching up with Chris Rosenthal on how that's going to work coming up on the other side of this break. And we'll see you guys right here. Well, welcome back, you guys. I'm Ariel Onstad. It is so good to see you here on our Wednesday morning. I'm getting some things set up for us because we're going to speak with Josh Brown, and this is all about restoring a Georgia treasure, a bluegrass barn. And Josh Brown has made this his big priority to make sure the community stays connected. We're going to get the timeline as to why this is supposed to be restored, how COVID played a role. So I want to bring in Josh now and see if we can speak with him. Josh, great to see you. How's your morning going?
It's going great. I'm over this humidity. I'm ready for fall, but I'm doing well.
You know
Glad to be
what?
here.
You and me both. You and me both, Josh. So tell me about it. So you guys have this West Georgia bluegrass barn, and you're trying to save it. Why are you trying to do this?
Yeah, it's called the Outpost. It opened up in 1990 and closed down a couple of years ago. COVID had a big impact on it, as you might imagine. Bluegrass, there's some elderly people, so it had a tough time. And this summer, two area bluegrass festivals ended up canceling their festivals. Raccoon Creek in Dallas, Georgia, and Armurchie Bluegrass Festival in Armurchie. Though they're still having jamming and camping at the Armurchie campgrounds there. So if you're in the area, feel free to go to that. But Bryce Hicks, my friend, and my band, the Dixie Ramblers, reached out and said, hey, we should start our own festival and try to bring back the Outpost Bluegrass Barn. So we reached out to them and they gave us the keys. And in about 3 weeks, we launched it, built a website, rambler-fest.com, and it's kind of blown up on Facebook. A lot of people in the West Georgia, Metro Atlanta, North Georgia area are coming together to help restore this really cool bluegrass venue.
I love it. Josh, I think it's so wonderful when you have something that brings the community together. And I would imagine as you're trying to save this, does community play a big role in why this is so important?
It plays a huge role. We've made a lot of new friends. Sponsorships come in, things that you don't even have to really ask for because it's such a beloved place. Bluegrass legends like Larry Sparks and Ralph Stanley II and Doyle Lawson and Jamie Daly have played here. It's just an awesome place, and it's just sitting there. And we spent the last 3 weeks cleaning it up and kind of getting it back to where we can have a festival there for this Labor Day weekend. But it really needs some kind of ongoing permanent TLC. And so the proceeds from this festival are going to go right back into it. And because of that, I believe we've just gathered a lot of support, a lot of love from the West Georgia, Northwest Georgia, Metro Atlanta bluegrass community. There's a huge bluegrass scene here that folks might not know about unless they're kind of into the bluegrass. But yeah, a lot of community, a lot of love, a lot of support. It's very exciting, and we're honored to try to bring this venue back.
So, Josh, I understand. I can only imagine, COVID probably played a role. I want to talk about the festival you just mentioned in a little bit. But first, I want to get a timeline here. It sounds like you guys were trying to have this open, but then, of course, COVID-19 hit. How did that affect this timeline?
Sure. I wasn't involved with it then. I've got some really close friends that were. And so, as you can imagine, COVID, impacted, tons of things, but especially, certain, elderly population. There's a lot of old timer bluegrass people in this area that, that impacted, right? And so it held on for a few years. They were trying to do live bluegrass shows there every Friday night, and it just wasn't sustainable. So it ended up shutting down in 2023, and it's just sitting there. And the owner is an 89-year-old gentleman named Thomas Gray, who owns this really cool antique gun store in downtown Tallapoosa, Georgia. And he's given Bryce and myself and our little team basically free reign to basically bring this thing back to life. He doesn't want any money from it. Any money that we make from this is going to go right back into the facility to preserve it and hopefully keep it going for bluegrass generations to come.
I can only imagine what it's like to have this treasure and to be able to connect with members of your community through music. It's such a powerful thing. And so many different members of the community are able to be a part of this, all ages. But like you said, it really is a treasure that a lot of generations can relate to, especially those older bluegrass members. So if people are streaming along with us, they want to help save this bluegrass barn. Tell us about the festival that's happening over Labor Day weekend. How can people get involved?
Sure. Visit rambler-fest.com or find us on Facebook, Rambler Fest. Just search Rambler Fest on Facebook and come out. So Saturday, August the 30th, we'll have live bluegrass bands playing from about noon to 10 p.m. Some really great bluegrass bands. If you're in Metro Atlanta and you love bluegrass, you're kind of interested in bluegrass, and maybe you've only seen live bluegrass when you go up to the mountains or the Smoky Mountains or Gatlinburg, Well, let me tell you, there's a huge Georgia bluegrass scene, and so come out and support it that way. It's cash only, so this is all last minute. It's all, we're not set up to do, that yet, but next year we will. So our vision is let's have an awesome kind of local music bluegrass festival this year, bring it back to life, and then next year we'll have probably some bigger names, some bigger sponsors or whatever, and have a more formidable festival next year. But August 30th, that's when the music is. You can come and camp too. We have RV spots. You can tent camp as well. So people are getting there Thursday and Friday. And Friday night, we're having a potluck supper, which is an old school bluegrass thing, if you're not familiar. And they'll be jamming. So bring your instruments if you want to jam. And we're having a kids bluegrass workshop Saturday morning. So if you got a kiddo that is interested in bluegrass, doesn't really know what to do, bring them out. And Jesse Slay from the Dixie Ramblers will be hosting that. And it's just a really cool opportunity to bring your kids out. And we'll have bouncy houses and food trucks as well.
Chris, sounds like a wonderful time for the whole family. As we're wrapping up here, where is this located? I know you talked about when and what it's going to entail. Where can they find this location?
It's in Tallapoosa. Technically, it's in Waco. If you never heard of Waco, it's basically off I-20, exit 11, about an hour and a half to 2 hours from Metro Atlanta, depending on where you are. But Tallapoosa, Waco area, close to Bremen.
Perfect. Chris, I wish you all the best as you work to restore this treasure, sending money back into that barn to restore it, the bluegrass. We're going to continue to follow this story. Josh, thanks so much for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Great to have you. Okay, guys, as we switch gears here, we want to keep you updated on that story, but I also want to continue to keep you updated as we track the latest with Hurricane Erin and our weather here at home. Of course, this is an ongoing situation we're going to continue to monitor, and meteorologist Jonathan Stacy is standing by to give us an update of what to look at and what to expect. So, Jonathan, I know one of the big things you've talked about has been rip currents. Where are we at with Erin, and what's the timing of all of this?
Okay, so to answer your first question right off the top, Ariel, the risk for rip currents is really anywhere along the East Coast. In fact, there have been rescues that have been ongoing throughout this week, and we expect there to be more today for the folks who dare to step or put a toe in the water or even try to swim in what are the choppy waters of the Atlantic. And that really is for the Florida coast all the way up into New England. There's going to be a risk as we go throughout the remainder of the week. This storm is kind of taking a sweet time moving to the north. There's some new information in on it. We see a better organized storm than we did 24 hours ago, even 12 hours ago. That said, from Cape Hatteras to the center of the storm is still about 530 miles at this point. The storm is situated to the south and to the east in the Atlantic, blazing a trail between the United States East Coast and the small island of Bermuda. But you can see the outer bands are already starting to reach in, roll into the coast of the Carolinas, and that's the area that will likely take the brunt of the storm in terms of the United States. Over the next 36-hour period, we're going to watch the storm continue to travel to the north, and it will lash. Its outer bands will lash, likely the outer banks impacting the coastal plain all the way up into the Chesapeake Bay. So that 11 o'clock advisory coming out at the top of the hour. Winds have not moved. Those are sustained winds, but there have been some recon reports of winds now up to 115. So the storm is re-strengthening, if you will. With that re-strengthening, what we're seeing here is this north and western section is basically regaining some organization. It was basically paralleling the Florida Peninsula about 24 hours ago, and it was running into some wind shear, and so that was kind of tearing the storm up a bit. Some drier air was trying to also entrain in, but it has managed to defeat the odds and is now moving into a more friendlier environment. Warm waters and it's relatively free of any shear at this point. And even as the water gets a bit shallow or closer to the Gulf Stream, you're going to find that this storm is going to likely strengthen a bit. Now, how much will it strengthen, considering that there will be some friction on its western side with the land? Well, that remains to be seen, but nonetheless, you do have a stronger storm than you had at this point in time yesterday. So we're starting to also get some radar returns. Keep in mind the storm is still, about 300 to 400 miles away off coast, which is a good thing, but those radar returns starting to be picked up along the beaches here, anywhere from, I say, Jacksonville down through Wilmington, and even off the coast of South Carolina. There's some clouds and then there's some showers offshore. Nothing exactly at this moment falling on land. It will be tomorrow morning, this game time, especially for the Outer Banks. You're looking at wind speeds topping 50 miles an hour, and there will be gusts that are higher than that. All the way up to Virginia Beach, you have wind speeds topping 40 miles an hour. It looks like the brunt of the storm will have avoided those in Wilmington and Jacksonville as you get down into the lower coastal plain of North Carolina by the time you wake up on Thursday morning. Thursday is going to be the rough day, but Friday they still can't put the storm in its rearview mirror just yet. We'll have to see just how much water's been pushed inland by hours and hours of ongoing gusts of wind. That said, there's a threat for storm surge. Now, I think the forecast here is a bit overdone. It says up to 6 feet possible. Let's make that between 2 to 3 feet possible. If there is storm surge, I think it will be more isolated than not. But given the topography of this area, it is entirely possible. You see the inlet here. That's an area known as the Outer Banks. Many people vacation there, many homes, lots of properties here. So this area is vulnerable, and there have been evacuations, and I imagine that as the winds pick up as we go throughout the day, we'll see more of that. In terms of rainfall, it won't be an impressive rainfall maker, because remember, when you think about tropical systems, if you are to the north and to the west of the center of the storm, you're actually in a better area. You're not on that dirty side, so to speak. So we're going to be away from the brunt of the heaviest rainfall. Considering that the outer bands are now shifting over portions of the Carolinas over the next 24-hour period, there will be some rain felt as far to the west as the Raleigh-Durham area. However, the rainfall amounts will even be meager along the coast. We're looking at a ½ to an inch of rainfall at best for the outer banks, specifically over the next 2-day period. So when we look at our Fox model here, let's follow the track of the storm. The latest track forecast out now has the storm growing back into a Cat 3 with wind sustained at 112 miles an hour. This could happen as early as this evening. We'll be watching for that 8 o'clock update. And then it takes a very pivotal turn here. Once again, this is a turn to the north and to the northeast. And that turn is going to be very important for folks who have interest along the I-95 corridor. It's going to cause anybody from the nation's capital all the way up to New England to avoid the brunt of the storm in the way of tropical storm force winds or some outer rain bands. That said, this model also is showing that it looks like a portion of New England will get some whiplash as we get into the day Friday. We're talking about the Cape Cod area going down to Hyannisport and Martha's Vineyard. It's a popular time to be up there during this time of the year, August. That's a hot vacation spot. Won't be so hot at the end of the week as the winds will be picking up out there. A lot of ferries out there. The waters are not going to be so friendly. They're not really friendly on a nice day, but you can imagine with a storm passing by at that time, which could still be a Category 3 storm, the waters are going to be quite rough once again from Martha's Vineyard going up to the Cape Cod area. This is just off the mainland coast of Massachusetts there. So we'll be watching this storm even as it moves into cooler waters and moves further away to the north and eventually to the east. That curve and pivot is going to be very important as the storm is likely to re-intensify, not only gaining strength, but also maintaining that strength for another 48 hours after it brushes past the Carolinas. That said, here at home, we're dealing with a couple showers and storms that have broken out this morning, wedged between I-20, I-85 to the south and to the west of town. Moving out of Carroll County now, it looks like the eye of the heaviest downpours is really set over Heard County. For those of you in Troup County, especially near West Point Lake, you'll be grazed by some showers over the next few minutes, but overall, the rain is not on for most of us yet. As we get deeper into the afternoon, those rain chances do go up to about 30, I may even say 40%. So a day similar to yesterday where we'll have scattered showers and storms that break out across the area with the focus of the most intense activity mainly to the north of the Atlanta metro area. But some storms will drift to the south, so keep that in mind, especially as we start to wrap the day up. The day will come to an end as far as sunshine is concerned around 8:18. So here's a look at your Fox 5 Storm Team 7-day forecast here. We'll hold on to some lower 90s today, especially if that rain doesn't break out until about 4 or 5 o'clock. For Thursday, it's more of the same. A front is moving in, but it doesn't move out so quickly, and so we will have to bear the brunt of that frontal passage from Friday into Saturday, and that will lead to an atmosphere that is rife and ready for storms to break out in a scattered variety that will doctor down the temperatures. We'll likely look for highs in the mid to upper 80s, and then by Sunday, hopefully that front has slipped down to the south and we can at least enjoy some sunshine for the second half of our weekend, dropping dew points so the air will feel much more comfortable, Ariel. And then alongside that, you're going to also have temperatures that back off as well. So the air temperature going down along with the dew points going down, and eventually the rain chances clearing the board. Monday into Tuesday, I don't have a chance for rain. It looks like there will be not a taste for fall, but definitely a deserved end to summer as we bring the final full week of August to an end.
Jonathan, just remarkable how quickly Hurricane Erin strengthened, and of course, remarkable as we continue to track these effects. One of the things I'm looking at, these lower temperatures, music to my ears, a little bit of a cooling off. Can't wait for it. So meteorologist Jonathan Stacy, thank you so much.
Yeah, there's a lot.
I appreciate it. Okay, so we're going to continue to look out. I want to give you guys a live look at New Jersey, where we know we're beginning to see a bit of those effects from Hurricane Erin start to move in. And as we look at that image, you can see right here just the waves and the stormy coastline there in the background. This is something that we are tracking live as we continue to track the latest here with Hurricane Erin. Now, one of the things that is happening all up and down the eastern seaboard, officials, of course, warning people to check the beach flags at lifeguard stations and to stay out of the water because of those risks for rip currents. You heard meteorologist Jonathan Stacy just talk about how it was happening all up and down the eastern seaboard. So we're going to continue to track the latest on this and keep you guys up to date. Coming up, we're going to get a check of the PGA Tour Championship with Buck. We're going to take you out to the golf course and, of course, the latest in Chamblee, where police are going to be building a real-time crime tracking center. So we're going to get to that coming up next. back. I'm Ariel Onstad. Thank you so much for streaming along with me. It is great to have you here on our Wednesday morning. Lovely to see you guys. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, just drop them into our YouTube chat and we'll get to you guys. I've been following along, seeing what you guys are interested in. Of course, we are tracking all things Hurricane Erin. And one of the big stories that we are taking a look at today, I know a lot of you are excited to see this. We're going to take you guys to the golf course today. And as we take a look at this, we know that this is something a lot of you guys have been excited about because the FedEx Cup playoffs wrap this week there at the Tour Championship. And of course, this is happening at the historic East Lake Golf Club. 30 players are competing there. And of course, they want to win that title. Our Buck Lanford is out waiting and ready. And I want to see if we can bring in Buck to get an update as to how things are going. Buck, I'm kind of jealous of your assignment right now, if we're being honest.
Well, Ariel, don't be too jealous because it's really warmed up out here and getting kind of muggy. But it is a beautiful day to be out on the golf course, and there's not a more beautiful golf course to be on than here at East Lake Golf Club. And as you mentioned, the top 30 golfers in the FedEx Cup points, they are here. It all gets started really almost exactly 24 hours from now. We're standing on tee number 1, and that's where all the action is going to take place. I'll step out of the way and you can take a look. That is the daunting tee shot that you'll see on hole number 1. It's wide open for these guys, but they're going to blast it some 300 yards, hopefully right down the middle of the fairway, try to fly that bunker on the left side and set up for a birdie on hole number 1. Now, before the professional golfers get out here, one of the great traditions, and there's a lot of great traditions that go along with this tournament, but one of the great traditions is with the first tee of Metro Atlanta, they do a Hope Tee Shot every year. So high school golfers, they qualify by writing an essay, by doing an interview, and playing in a golf tournament. And I had the great privilege to speak to this year's 2 qualifiers who are going to hit the first tee shot. They'll be out here before the pros, so there'll be some pressure on them as they have to hit a tee shot in front of the television audience and the crowd that'll be out here about 24 hours from right now. Here's what they had to say about that. This is Sam, and this is Aiko. Why, you ask? Well, because these two are going to hit the ceremonial Hope Tee Shot to get this whole thing started coming up on Thursday, the Tour Championship. We'll start with you, Aiko. You're in 11th grade at Druid Hills High School, right? Yes. Tell us about how you earned the opportunity to do this.
Well, I ended up competing in the same tournament a year ago. I didn't do too well, but I didn't let that stop me. I decided to keep trying for it, and with a lot of hard work, I ended up getting it this year.
That is so cool that you didn't succeed the first time, but you kept working and you showed that hard work pays off. What does that mean to you?
Honestly, it takes a lot, and especially First Tee has helped with that, with all of the coaching that I have done with them. They teach you to never stop and keep trying, no matter what happens.
How about you, Sam? Tell us about how you earned your right to be here.
I wrote an essay, I did an interview, and I played in a tournament. And I think the essay was the hardest part because it was like during the first day, it was due on the first day of state championship, so I had to get it done in a hotel. But my friend helped me edit it, and I really appreciate it for that.
And I really appreciate that about this program, that yes, golf, playing good golf is a part of it, but it's a lot more than that. And as you mentioned, some of the more, you can play good golf, right? But you got to do an essay and you got to do an interview, and those things can be challenging, can't they?
Yes, they can. Very nerve-wracking, but it gets you ready for the real world, so I appreciate that.
All right, you're a senior at Drew Charter. Tell us about the golf team over there. You guys have had some success.
Oh yeah, we just went to the state championship, and we're going back again this year.
Predicting it already, I love it.
Yeah, we didn't have any seniors on the boys team, so I know we're going to do great this year. And shout out to the team.
How about that golf? Yeah, shout out to the Drew team. How about that golf team? And just the way it's developed through the years, and really a lot of fans, not just here in Atlanta, but around the country, follow you guys.
Yeah, I mean, I appreciate everybody who follows us, and we're going to keep doing great things. And I'm really appreciative for all like the camaraderie that we show, because it really helps me become a better golfer and a better person, honestly. We have like a great tight-knit group at Drew.
I love that. I love that. All right, so you talked about the golf, but he was also talking about the essay and the other interview process. How challenging was that to earn this position?
The essay wasn't too bad for me. I've done a lot of essays before and a lot of interviews before. It was just coming to a final draft of my essay. Right. I had to make it a lot different from what I had last year, and I was up until maybe 12 or 1 in the morning doing my essay.
That's good training for college. You'll be doing that a lot, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's talk about what you guys are. I'm going to ask you both this. Take me through what you think you're going to be feeling when you stand up on that first tee. They introduce you guys. You're kicking off this whole thing with the top 30 golfers in the world. How do you prepare for that? Tell me what you think you might be feeling.
I'm definitely going to feel nervous. I've done a lot of preparation for it, but I'm still obviously going to be a little nervous, maybe a little hand shaking, but nothing I haven't been too used to. And I have been practicing a lot with my driver and just hitting my driver, so I think I'm pretty well prepared.
You predicting that you're going to draw one about 260, 270? What are you going to do?
Maybe 215 to the right a little bit, still in the fairway.
A little bit of a fade, all right. I
Yes,
like
sir.
that. I like that. How about you? What do you think you're going to be feeling when you stand there? Because nobody, you've hit a million shots in your life, but it's different when you stand up there in a place such as this.
Yeah, I think the key is to try to act like it's not different. It's the same as the other shots.
Good.
Breathing is always important. My dad always tells me that. So I'm going to just breathe, try to hit like a power fade, maybe like 290, 300.
I like
See how that's going?
Power, the young backs can still do that, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. Well, good. I love it. All right, who do you think's going to win this week?
I got my money on Victor Hovland.
Really? Okay, that's interesting. Who do you like this week?
JJ Spahns.
JJ Spawn. I was thinking somebody would say Scotty Scheffler. Neither one. He comes in hot. He's the #1 golfer in the world. Everybody almost just gives it to him. You guys don't think Scheffler's going to get it done this week?
I mean, I like Scheffler, but I just think that it's like, I don't know. He has a history of like not holding on to leads. So
all right,
yeah.
We'll see what happens. Well, good luck to you guys. I don't know what Scheffler's going to do, but I got a feeling these two are going to hit it right down the middle, or maybe to the right, just fading that ball just a little bit, right? All right. Well, congratulations on getting this honor, and I can't wait to see how you guys hit the ball on Thursday. All right.
All right.
Thanks. Thanks, guys.
Hours, but spread it over like a total of 16 hours.
Yeah.
All right, I'm having to use my golf voice right now because we have Hideki Matsuyama on the tee right now, hitting his practice shot on #1. We had a lot of golfers on the course today practicing their final rounds, getting ready for the first round, which will start tomorrow. You remember Hideki is a former Masters champion and one of the top 30 in the FedEx Cup points, so he just hit a great drive right down the middle. And now I think I can talk in my normal voice again because they're walking off. But we've seen Justin Thomas, we've seen J.J. Spawn, we've seen Rory McIlroy, a lot of guys out here today getting these practice rounds in and trying to get ready because it starts for real tomorrow. And you mentioned they want to win the FedEx Cup, Ariel.
Yes.
But I think what they really want to win is the $10 million that goes with the champion winning the FedEx Cup. $10 million. I want to point out one other thing too. Right over here, and so if you're going to be coming out here, there's a lot of hospitalities that are not open to the public, but this one, the upper level of this one here on the first tee is open to the public. It's called the Delta Starter Lounge. So if you're out here, it's a great vantage point because you're up high, so you can certainly see the great shots on the first tee, but you can also take a look at across the lake and see a lot of the course from up there. So it's a great spot. We've showed you a couple of little spots where, maybe you're a Sky Miles member, you can get in, or places that are open to the public. So it's not all about just, big corporate hospitalities if you're out here. So I imagine it's going to be pretty crowded tomorrow. One of my favorite things about this tournament is that the field is so small. 30 golfers. 30 golfers. So it's a lot of fun, and it's one of my favorite events of the year.
Buck, I love it. You're giving us the hookup, letting us know where to go there at the golf course. And I just have to say, I'd like to see an entire good day morning from Buck done in his golf voice. I think that would be very relaxing.
I don't know. That was my golf whisper. I've never done that on TV before. But we actually got really lucky that we were here live at the time when one of the top 30 golfers just happened to come through. It timed out. We got to see him. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good, and I'm usually neither. So today, at least I was lucky.
I dispute that. I don't think that's the case, Buck. Thank you so much. It's time to move on. But Buck, you've been great as always. Thank you so much for giving us a peek there at the golf course. Okay, guys. I want to see one of the things that we have been tracking in our newsroom is demolition and construction that's going to begin in Chamblee on a new real-time crime tracking center. Now, the city of Chamblee is actually paying $500,000 to build this. So we're going to be checking in with our Chris Rosenthal on this story coming up in just a little bit. I also want to check in with our Angelique Proctor as she's tracking the latest on the Fulton County jail debate. And I actually see Angelique standing by, and I'm looking over to the corner over here. I see her smiling face. So I might see if we check in with Angelique and see what the latest is as it relates to the Fulton County Jail. Now, one of the things that we have been discussing, Angelique, I see you there and ready, and you've actually been listening to Fulton County commissioners as they discuss the latest. Catch us up to speed, because I know this has been a much debated issue.
Oh, absolutely. There has been a whole lot of talk about the Fulton County Jail, and the Sheriff Patrick Labatt has indicated he wanted a new jail. The cost was astronomical. Now, Fulton County Commission Chairman Rob Pitts has come up with something that he thinks will be a compromise and a solution. Now, what we've heard this morning has been public comment. there has been speaker after speaker talking about how they oppose trying to invest in the current jail that they say they would like to see a new jail created, agreeing with Sheriff Patrick Labatt. In fact, there were so many speakers, the commission just decided to vote to extend public comment after hearing a lot of the speakers for 1 hour. So they are still listening to those. Many, again, have been opposed to this new proposal. So let's talk a little bit about that. What Rob Pitts announced on Monday is that he would like to have a special purpose facility. He says it will be for mental health inmates as well as medical needs. And then after creating this mental health facility, which they're calling a special purpose facility on the same Rice Street property, then after they complete that project, they will begin renovations on the actual Rice Street jail. And that two-prong proposal will cost some $1.1 billion. And the chairman points out that is going to be a lot cheaper than investing in a new jail, which at one time we were talking $2.6 billion. And he has said the Fulton County taxpayers just cannot afford that. Now, this facility, I'm told, will be a 3,200 bed facility, and it will take 5 years to build it. The renovations to the Rice Street jail, again, would happen after this new facility is created. The Sheriff Patrick Labatt has said that he does not like this proposal. He wants a new jail, but the chairman says that's just not going to happen. Let's take a listen.
Angelique, we're going to be listening to him in just a little bit. I know as you've been catching up, that's something that we're going to be taking a look at. Can you let us know a little bit about what he was discussing as you were listening to him and taking some of those notes?
Well, what the chairman says is that this is what an outside agency came in, a consulting firm that they hired, came up with. And he says that a lot of these suggestions of creating this smaller facility will actually meet a lot of the consent decree demands and address safety. So he believes that this is the best solution for Fulton County. Now, that has not been what we have heard speaker after speaker. I think they had some 70 speakers, including people who were on the Zoom, and many of them from the Southern Center for Human Rights, saying that they believe that the Rice Street facility is inhumane. We've heard the sheriff a lot talking about the walls crumbling and that inmates are using them for shanks and that there is not a lot of safety there. I've done a lot of stories with families who've had loved ones who have had problems there, been attacked. And as we mentioned earlier, some 10 people who've actually died at the Fulton County Jail for various reasons. Some were homicides, some suicides. But the bottom line is safety. And so that is what Rob Pitts believes this new proposal will actually address. So we will be following it and let you know how this vote shakes out.
Yeah, Angelique, I know you've covered so many stories dealing with the Fulton County Jail, and it seems we often get these story tips into our newsroom about the conditions there, and I know it's something that our leaders have discussed. We need a sustainable solution. So, Angelique, thank you so much for covering this. Look forward to continued discussion as our news hours progress throughout the day. So, Angelique, thank you so much for your time. Guys, I'm going to go ahead and bring you back in as we continue to look ahead to what is next. We're going to get a check-in of a case happening in Carroll County. I want to let you know more about a mayor that is facing trial again. Our Kevin Stewart's going to be covering the latest on that. And then we're going to take you out to Chamblee, where police are launching new tools to fight crime. That's coming up next. Welcome back. Thank you so much for streaming along with us here on our Wednesday morning. Guys, I am tracking the latest on what you guys are letting us know you want to see in our YouTube chat. If you're listening in on the radio, 109 HD2 FM. Thank you so much for listening. I'm actually looking ahead. I'm getting distracted by some of our YouTube comments, people letting us know what they want to see. So thank you so much. One of the big stories we have been tracking deals with a case in Carroll County. And I do want to get out to our Kevin Stewart, who just stepped out of the courtroom. We know that a West Georgia mayor and former state trooper is standing trial again. And this deals with a car crash death of 2 teenage girls. Kevin, you just stepped out of the courtroom. Opening arguments expected to begin today. What's going on?
Yeah, the suspect here, the defendant, A.J. Scott, a former state trooper, now the mayor of Buchanan. He is charged with 6 counts. The high-level count there obviously being vehicular homicide of Kylie Lindsay and Isabella Chinchilla. This dates back to September of 2015. That case was the first trial, actually ended in a mistrial, and there have been a long list of delays, which brings us to today. Let's take you inside the courtroom. The fatal accident, as I noted, went back to September 2015. Prosecutors say the former state trooper, now Buchanan mayor, hit and injured 2 teens and killed 2 teens, Kylie Lindsay and Isabella Chinchilla, who were passengers in a car of kids just hanging out on a Saturday night. Take a listen to this excerpt of opening statements from the state and the defense as they paint a very different picture of what happened that night.
And it flies over the hill at about 83 miles an hour. It is dark, the road is wet, there's obviously limited visibility. And as he drives up that hill, he passes 2 caution signs, one on each side of the road. Those yellow signs that you see that say, hey, there's an intersection coming up. And you should actually go 45 miles an hour. But he disregards those. And as the kids come into view, he turns to the right, but directly there again. And he realizes his mistake. And he starts turning back to the left, and only then puts on his brakes. But at that point, it is way too late, and he hits them with devastating force.
The first few witnesses have begun to take the stand. Testimony started just after 10 o'clock this morning, after opening statements. And so they're beginning to build their case, the prosecution meticulously, and we will continue to monitor developments and go back in the courtroom and have another update for you coming up later on Fox 5 News. But for now, we're live in Carrollton. Kevin Stewart, Fox 5 News. Ariel.
I know as this unfolds there in the courtroom, you're going to have more discussion for us, and this will be an interesting case to watch unfold. So, Kevin, thank you so much. Guys, I do want to take us out to Chamblee. One of the stories we've been tracking throughout the morning, of course, deals with a new tool police are bringing to fight crime, and they're building a new real-time crime fighting center. Our Chris Rosenthal is actually out there now, and I want to see if Chris can hear me. He's walking through the hallways now. I can see his camera. So, Chris, as you're walking through, I'm going to go ahead and talk a little bit about some of what we're seeing. Demolition and construction is going to begin tomorrow at this real-time crime center. This is at the Chamblee Police Department. The city of Chamblee is actually paying $500,000 to construct this, and they were awarded a community public safety grant by the state. And this grant was over $1 million, actually close to $1.4 million, to cover the cost of the equipment and technology. And this would be in the real-time crime center. It would include flock cameras, a video wall, computers, desks. So I see Chris Rosenthal walking through and giving us a sneak peek. Chris, I know that he's working to probably listen in and see what's going on as he walks through. I'm going to see if Chris can hear me, and if not, I'm going to continue talking a little bit more about this story. We know as we're continuing to look at this that this would hopefully help the city of Chamblee fight crime, and being able to get that grant was a significant milestone in being able to build this new center. So we'll continue to keep you updated as we learn new information about this. Again, if you're just joining our live stream, we know that demolition and construction is going to begin tomorrow for this real-time crime center at the Chamblee Police Department. The city of Chamblee paying $500,000 in those construction costs, and the police department was awarded a public safety grant between close to $1.4 million to be able to cover the cost of equipment and technology. With the flock cameras and other things in this system, they are looking at being able to have a video wall, computers and desks, but a lot of real-time crime monitoring, something that the city of Chamblee did not have to that level before. So that's something that our Chris Rosenthal has been tracking and getting the latest on this morning as he's out there in Chamblee. Coming up, we're going to take a quick break, and coming up, we're going to be checking in with about a donation to help some victims of domestic abuse and how to help them stay with their pets. As many of you know, this is a concern. So many are not able to keep their pets with them when they flee a violent situation. So we're going to see how one local leader is stepping up to try to help out. That's coming up next. Welcome in. Thank you so much for streaming with me. I'm Ariel Onstad, and it is great to see you on our Wednesday morning. One issue that affects so many victims of domestic abuse is the fact that they cannot take their pets with them. It's a very stressful situation already, trying to flee a stressful situation. Then to make sure that you can keep something really close, near and dear to you is very important. So a local leader is actually donating some items to make sure that victims of abuse are supported. And our Brooke Zahner is actually joining us live there from Lawrenceville. Brooke, it is great to see you. Can you tell me more? We have about a couple minutes here. Tell me more about how this event unfolded today.
Yeah, this was all a collective effort from the community here in Gwinnett County at the Gwinnett County Justice Centers, where they collected all of these donations. This was by the Gwinnett County Solicitor General, Lisa Marie. She spent a lot of time collecting donations, and a lot of this is thanks to a new law that was signed by Governor Kemp, which allows for the inclusion of pets in domestic violence protective order. So that means that when a person is granted a protective order, the court then can also determine the care, the custody, and control of any pets, dogs, cats, things of that nature as well. So they were able to collect some donations for a local animal shelter that specifically works with victims of domestic violence. I want to get a chance to have you guys listen to what the Solicitor General had to say to us about collecting all of these donations.
70% of people who want to leave a violent situation stay for longer than they would because of their animals, because of their fur babies, because of their pets, because they have nowhere safe to bring them or to take them to. Ahimsa House is an amazing agency that fills that gap and allows for them to, while they get themselves in a safer situation, know that their animals and their pets and their fur babies are taken care of as well. So we're hoping that with this new law, we'll see a much smaller gap than that 70+% of people who remain in unsafe situations because they don't have anywhere to take their dog or their cat or apparently their snake. And horses, we've heard all kinds of different animals have been included. And so our hope is, with the demand that is definitely coming, that this will help.
So again, all of these donations were collected on behalf of the Ahimsa House, which is a animal shelter that specifically works with domestic violence victims. They collected everything from cats.
Now at noon, opening statements are underway in the retrial of Buchanan Mayor A.J. Scott, who's being tried for a 2015 crash that killed 2 teenage girls. Plus, the family of a Clark Atlanta graduate has sued the college where she was killed in a new lawsuit.
Tracking Hurricane Erin as its outer bands re-strengthen, they are preparing now to brush the Carolinas coast. Where it's headed and what happens next in my Fox 5's